You're listening to the Multiverse Fan Cast, proud member of the Misfit Faction Media Network.
All right then, on with the show.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Multiverse Fan Cast. As always, if you're listening to us on the go, you can find us on Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, basically anywhere you get your podcast. You can also find more of our content on our website, themisfitfaction.com. There you'll find links to not only our show, but also our other shows like Cinematic Adventures and MF Uncensored. As always, I'm one of your hosts, Paul. With me in the studio today is Ronnie. Ronnie, how are you today?
I'm doing well, sir. How about you?
Oh, I can't complain because I'm here with you.
I like that answer.
I can complain because our other guest is Sean. Sean, how are you today?
Well, I was good until you said that.
You're not good because you're also watching the Jets game and they keep messing up on the third down.
Look at you.
You said it 9 times.
I did.
All right. So anyway, we are back and we are here to talk about the latest in the DC, not extended universe anymore, DC Universe film series, Black Adam. So before we jump into the movie, as always, Ronnie, do you have any news?
Why? Yes, I do, sir.
No news is good news.
So if I have news, that's bad news?
I don't know. I'm just quoting.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this could possibly be some bad news. Venom 3 has announced its director. It's a screenwriter, Kelly Marcel. So she's been working with the project, since Venom anyway. So she kind of has an idea of, what to do and everything like that.
What to do is a very strong way
Did
to...
she write the first Venom or just Venom 2?
She co-wrote both.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good for her. She's getting an opportunity to direct, but
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry. I got to do a better job than Venom 2. That was just hot garbage.
Yeah, right?
That's all it is. I mean,
Yeah.
Sorry. But obviously she did well enough that they're giving her the opportunity to direct. I mean,
Yeah.
that's great.
So we'll see. She's done other stuff such as, writing the screenplay for 50 Shades of Grey.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah. So,
Kinky.
maybe she'll incorporate some 50 Shades of Venom. I don't know.
I don't know. They already got weird enough. I think hopefully this is their chance to kind of take a step back.
Yeah.
Maybe? Like, Venom 2 has some good moments in it, but all right, here's a fun Venom fact that I didn't notice.
Okay.
So in Venom 2, you see that Venom's afraid of, oh, that's a red one, which they never actually explain. Unfortunately, you have to know what's going on.
Yeah.
But there's a scene with M&Ms all over the place. All the red ones are taken out.
Huh.
Yeah, because Venom is
Interesting.
afraid of the red ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never noticed that. Somebody pointed that out to me recently.
That's
I was like,
interesting.
oh, I really didn't look too deep into this movie where Venom
Yeah.
goes to the club
Yeah.
after killing 17 hosts.
Yeah,
But
right.
anyway, any other news?
Yes, so we do have some big news over in the DC world.
Well, that's funny because we're talking about Black Adam today.
Yeah, you see how I did that?
I mean, you kind of told me the news beforehand.
Oh,
so,
man.
No, it's fine.
But yeah, so DC has announced co-chairman and O's of DC Studios, and that will be James Gunn and Peter Safran.
I've never heard of them,
No?
especially that first guy.
Yeah, I don't know. Hopefully they do a good job. They're a bunch of no-name people.
So here's my next question. How deep into filming is Guardians of the Galaxy 3?
I think it's done.
Oh, it's done? Okay.
I know that. I think they finished filming.
Yeah.
Because that would have been interesting.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. So
So I guess he wasn't under contract with Marvel.
he probably was, but he's
Yeah.
probably out of contract. And I think at this point, when Marvel dropped him and they then rehired him, he was like, I'll only do like X, Y, and Z. I'm
Yeah.
not going to like go sign 10-year contracts.
Yeah.
It's an interesting choice, and we'll talk about it probably more towards the end of the episode where we kind of talk about where Black Adam leads towards the end. It's just DC's a mess. We all know that. We did an episode a few weeks ago about how crazy DC is. I wish we had known this was going to happen beforehand.
Yeah, right?
Because this takes effect from time of recording in about 2 days on
Yes.
Tuesday. So it's interesting. Walter Hamada was the guy running DC for a while, and he did a terrible job. Like just
Yeah.
DC was worse for having him, and he was like one of the biggest things. Like Ray Fisher was really against him with all the cyborg stuff,
Yeah.
and a lot of the other actors kind of came out and they were like, "Hey, we're not enjoying this. This isn't the way it should be."
Yeah.
And thank God he stepped down. I think earlier in October, around like the October 19th.
Well, the whole merger thing was a big factor in this.
Yes.
If the whole merger didn't happen, who knows if any of this would actually be going on.
Yeah,
It's wild to think about. I really hope that this kind of gets it back on track. We've talked about also like what our thoughts have been about full reboot, soft reboots, letting it run its course. Because unfortunately, we don't know. Apparently, the original Justice League is the canonical Justice League. Like that is the story that happened, which is fine because it, as much as I enjoyed the Snyder Cut, I know we collectively enjoyed it more.
Yeah.
The story doesn't change as much. Like the only
No.
thing that's different is that Steppenwolf survives
Yes.
in the original Justice League, which is whatever. So it's interesting. Like, do they keep this continuity going? Is it the more happy, cheerful kind of thing?
Continuity.
Yeah, I know. Well done. But it's because Superman, Henry Cavill has announced that he's coming back.
Yeah.
Not a spoiler, don't worry. And on top of that, today it released that he is not returning to The Witcher for season 4.
Yeah.
Fans are already. It's been 47 minutes since that news basically dropped, and people are freaking out.
Yep.
Because season 3 of The Witcher is, I think, almost done, if not pretty close to.
So here's my thing. Like, you're telling me you couldn't wait for him?
I don't know.
Yeah.
We have theories at the end that we'll talk about at the end of the episode where DC's about to really launch into its next phase, which is good. And we like James Gunn. I think that's a collective thought. Sean's kind of like
Sean's looking around.
Sean's indifferent.
Sean's middle of the road with him. I'm
I'm
assuming.
nothing against him. I thought Suicide Squad was absolutely overrated. And
You did hate Suicide Squad.
Give me the David Ayer version. I like that. It's a whole lot better.
Oh, you mean of the original
The
Suicide?
original Suicide Squad. I love that so much better.
You would rather watch the
I would absolutely rather watch the Will Smith Suicide Squad than
Interesting.
the James Gunn Suicide Squad. I'm sorry, I just didn't do it for me.
I agree.
As a filmmaker, I still think he's very good.
Yeah.
But obviously, he's not going to direct any of these movies. He's like in charge.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
well,
So
I
just-
hope that Kevin Feige established a very strict tone for Marvel for the
Yeah.
most part. Like they've tried some experimental stuff as of late, which is nice. Werewolf by Night, even
Yeah.
She-Hulk to a degree. So I hope that all these movies don't just suddenly turn into James Gunn movies.
Well, that was my when they made him in charge. I'm just like, what does that do?
Yeah. I
Like,
think it just brings perspective and the idea of like, I have no problem if they want to do a bunch of different styles and genres. That's what I always wanted from DC. Like, make your Batman movie dark, gritty, detective
That's how it's
style.
supposed to be,
But if you watch, and like the original Marvel movies were, like Iron Man and the Incredible Hulk were very different movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even like Captain America, the first Thor, they all felt different. And it's only in more recent years that all Marvel movies kind of have a similar vibe
Yeah.
to them. I would be totally okay. Like Aquaman can be a fun, goofy, sea adventure.
Yeah.
But then you do like a Batman where it's like just like the Batman,
Yeah.
dark, gritty, detective style, smaller stakes even. Like
Do Aquaman almost like Pirates of the Caribbean.
I'd be okay with them doing
Kind of style?
and then bringing them together, and they're kind of and that's the one thing I like about James Gunn's work. He's very good at bringing in characters that are they're not so similar to
Yeah.
each other. Like look at the Guardians of the Galaxy. That's what a Justice League movie should be.
Yeah,
Like a
yeah.
Justice League, a Guardians feel, where it's like, here's Batman. He's like the overly serious one, like kind of like Gamora. And I don't want to make too many comparisons because I really hope they do something different.
Yeah.
But
well, just look at the cartoon show. I mean, that's kind of what you want.
oh my
Yeah.
god, yeah. And if you
obviously just live action.
Yeah, right.
I mean, but you want that feel. You want that difference between the characters. You want the conflict between the characters. You want them teaming up together. I mean, again, we've gone over this so many times. I mean, Marvel did it right with the Avengers.
Mm-hmm.
You can say what you want if they're doing it right now, but that first 2 phases up to Endgame, or 3 phases. How many phases was that? Three. I mean, you can't do it any better in terms of building a cinematic universe. You can't do it any better. And again, DC just, you know what? They have their way. We'll see what happens. I wish James Gunn luck. I really do.
Yeah.
I don't want him to fail. But until I see it, you got to show me
Yeah.
before I even give an opinion on whether this is going to be good or not.
Well, he also has somebody to play off of, Peter
Yeah.
Safran, who we looked him up before we got started. We didn't know too much about him. He's a film producer and manager. He's been around for quite some time. He's done a lot of representation of a lot of different clients: Brad Pitt, Jennifer Aniston, Sandler, Nick Cage, Courtney
So he was
Cox.
an agent and a producer.
No, he was a manager at Bristol and Gray for 5 years, which was I guess represented talent agency maybe. But he did do work on the Conjuring universe, Aquaman, Shazam, the sequels, the Suicide Squad, and I'm interested. So basically, Gunn will handle the creative aspects, it's saying, and Safran will handle the business side of the division, which I'm fine with. Yeah. I think it's good to have somebody who knows business, somebody who knows creative. But again, do I need a rated R Superman movie?
No.
Like,
well, you obviously have to assume that him and Peter Safran went into Warner Brothers and said, "This is our vision." Yeah. Because I'm sure the Warner Brothers didn't just hire them on a whim. They had to have shown them what they envisioned for this. Now, did they go to Henry Cavill and the actors and say, "Hey, if we get put in place to do this, will you guys be on board?" Yeah. So I don't know. I'd like to hear more about it as more news leaks out, how exactly this came together. Was Henry Cavill signed before they announced James Gunn and this guy as the leaders of DC? Again, there's a whole lot of answers that need to be, a whole lot of things that need to be answered.
Yeah, because at first with, getting ahead of ourselves with the Black Adam stuff, like he shows up and it was supposed to, at the time it was just one and done. Yeah. I'm doing this and that's it. And now, who knows, maybe, Gunn talked to him or, Safran talked and was like, "Listen, this is what's going to happen at DC. Come back."
Yeah. I mean, I think it's better that they're trying to salvage what they can. Yeah. Because say what you will about DC's movies, their casting has always been pretty on point. Yes. I think I still see Henry Cavill as he's only getting better, in my opinion. I love Zachary Levi. Yeah, he's got the curl. I like Zachary Levi as Shazam. Jason Momoa was great Jason Momoa was so good as Aquaman that they actually changed the way Aquaman was in the comics to match it. Gal Gadot.
Yep. And
we'll see
both Batman.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, two different versions of the character.
Yeah, so, but I'm sure we're all guilty of it, right? Ben Affleck, really?
Oh yeah, no.
And then knocks it out of the park.
Every Batman has been questioned,
right? Robert Pattinson, what? Yeah. Okay, that was actually pretty good.
Heath Ledger.
Yeah,
we all said it. Yeah. But anyway, let's roll into our first thoughts about this movie, Black Adam. Something that's been on the development floor for quite some time, like 10, 15 years or something ridiculous.
Yeah, something like that.
So, initial thoughts without getting too spoilery, Ronnie.
I really enjoyed the movie. It was actually better than I thought it was going to be. I thought we were going to have another possible DC dumpster fire. And in my humble opinion, it was a lot better than that. So I can't wait to actually talk about this in detail and everything. I think DC is going in the right direction.
Sean?
Yeah, very much like Ronnie. I wasn't too keen on this movie. I liked The Rock, but I kind of feel he's getting a little played out. So that's what I was worried about. As producer Melanie is staring me down, it's going to kill me with her eyes. I'm sorry. I just feel like he plays the same character in every movie he's in. Now, I think he was actually pretty good in this movie. They really didn't. It didn't feel like him.
He downplayed.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah, he wasn't doing his.
He was more serious.
He wasn't doing his stupid little humor that he has in some movies, but I thought he did a good job in this. I trust him as a presence behind the camera. I don't think he would have allowed this movie to be, garbage. I think he would have made, because this is like his
baby.
This is like his baby project. I mean, he's been tied down to this since it was announced. So I can't imagine he would have let this movie go off the rails. I would have been surprised if it was truly that bad. But I enjoyed it, and we'll talk about that later on. But it was good.
So I was never a big Black Adam fan. Like I knew of him. I knew of Black Adam as a villain. He was always like the bad version of Shazam. It was only more recent years that he became more of that anti-hero type character. So for me, I liked Shazam. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a great movie, or not a great movie, but like just a good time.
Yeah, it was a fun movie.
It was a fun movie, and I was hoping for the same here. I was not expecting the level of brutality.
This. I have to say, like,
there were parts of it.
If there's a director's cut of an R-rated version of this, I would like to see it, because it was. I would say it was a step away from being R. I mean, his whole electrocuting people was vicious. Awesome. It was. It's vicious. So we'll see. But no, they didn't hold back in this movie.
So it's funny you say that because one of the things, is he too powerful, right? There are characters that are just as powerful, if not more. Like Shazam or Captain, whatever they end up calling Billy Batson, has the exact same powers and same power level. He just holds back.
Yes.
Black Adam's a character that doesn't. So to see his level of... And Hawkman, puts up his dukes every few times. We'll talk a little bit about that. I really enjoyed the Justice Society. I like how we didn't need 4 days of exposition. They were founded in 1912. No, this is a team that exists. It works. It does work with the government. It was cool. Hawkman was awesome. I really enjoyed it. Dr. Fate was awesome. I enjoyed the new kids too. So it was a really cool way to build something secondary, but also still focus on the primary story. Like, here's our threat. This threat just popped up. And I enjoyed that they talk about like the whole, hey, we've been, being tormented by Intergang, but the second a superhero shows up, you guys are like, nope, can't have that.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
I thought it was an interesting way. And I love, they merchandise the superheroes. It's funny. And Marvel just started doing that in their universe too, with like comic books and posters. I think it was really an interesting way to kind of show, hey, we're still doing that. They did it in Shazam too. He throws the Batman thing at him.
Yeah.
Get him, Batman.
Yep.
So I dug it, and this movie, it was better than anticipated. It's still in the same vein of, though, like your Aquaman, your Shazam. Like, I enjoyed it. It still feels like it's part of this continuity, but it didn't. Again, same thing. It didn't blow me away.
Yeah, and I know I've compared these. It wasn't Christopher Nolan's Batman. It wasn't. It didn't feel real world, but it was good enough. It wasn't too. It wasn't cartoony. It wasn't that kind of feeling to it. Obviously it's a fake city that it takes place in,
Kondak,
which is relatively kind of like an Egypt kind of feel to it.
Yep.
But it worked. I thought it worked.
All right, so with that, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we are going to go full spoilers on Black Adam. But first,
no spoilers.
A quick break. Hey guys, it's Paul, and the Misfit Faction is looking for your help. We are trying to grow not only our network, but also grow our brands, and the best way to do that is if you guys are looking to start your very own podcast. Maybe you guys have been listening to us for a while. Maybe it's something you guys have always wanted to do, but you're not sure how to get started. If you go to podbean.com/misfitfaction, you guys will get a month of free podcasting set as a gift from us. So make sure if you guys are looking to start your own show, you reach out to us and go to podbean.com/misfitfaction. Also, maybe you guys have your own online business or service that you're always looking to grow, and advertising is a very big part of that. If you guys go to sponsorship.podbean.com/misfitfaction, you guys can get $100 worth of free advertising, again, as a thank you from us to you guys. That's sponsorship.podbean.com/misfitfaction. All right, we are back, and again, this is your full spoiler warning. We are going to dive deep into Black Adam, which sounds weird when I say it out loud.
Black Adam is Superman's father. Yes!
Yeah. Woohoo! Well, there is some surprising dad twists in this movie, so thank you for that awkward segue.
Daddy issues.
So let's start with the actual character of Black Adam, played by Dwayne Johnson. Now, again, this is spoilers. Spoiler territory. I realized in the very beginning of the movie that it was Dwayne Johnson, as like you see him silhouetted as the father. I was like, that's Dwayne Johnson.
I didn't catch that.
Yeah, because they did a good job directing the focus on the kid.
Yeah, but also they did a good job of CGIing him to make him look thin.
That was the worst.
I thought it looked decent. I thought it was better than
the mustache. I mean,
no. Why you got to start shit? Why you got to start? No, I thought it was better than Chris Evans in Captain America.
Yeah, the first Captain America was janky.
Which I get because it was the character. It was hard to do.
You know what it is? It's just The Rock's head is muscular.
Yeah, like
you know what I mean? Like it looked like a muscular
he's been working out his eyebrows for years.
Yeah, right? And then you have this scrunt. I don't know. It looked a little funky.
So, in the original comics, because I know I'm the only one here that knows anything about the original comics, because it's just my life. Seriously. Black Adam's not a good person. He's a terrible person. He shares the power with, I think it's his nephew in the comics, kind of like how they, the Shazam family shares their power.
Yeah.
Nothing new in comics. There was always a Captain Marvel Jr. and stuff like that. But he ends up, his nephew in the comics, I think, wants to be like the altruistic, heroic leader. And he's like, no, we are going to be a dictatorship. Like, I need to rule with an iron fist. He's a lot more Doctor Doomish in the comics, where it's like, I love my country, but I am a dictator. And the rest of the world sees him as a dictator, but his people love him. Yeah. So he ends up having his nephew and say Shazam at the same time he does. And he actually kills the nephew as the lightning bolt is about to hit him. And he takes the full power of Shazam. because in the comics they could share the power, but it would take part of, like, it would split the power. So the more people that had it, the less powerful it was. So Black Adam, takes control of it, and then I think he gets banished from the world for like 5,000 years or something like that, and he comes back, and he's pissed.
Yeah.
And in the comics, they actually get him to say Shazam, and when he loses his power, he ages that whole point and dies. Comes back, and he's alive in the comics. He's been more of an anti-hero more recent years. So
now Shazam, the character he's most tied down to in terms of like who you see him with or fighting against.
Yeah, he was very big fighting against Shazam. Like that was their thing. Less and less. But again, I'm not as familiar with Black Adam. But yeah, they took some liberties because that was my biggest fear. Because I was like, Black Adam's like not a good person. You got Dwayne Johnson, who's very charismatic, very charming, and has played the good guy for. It's like what Sean said, kind of. I don't want to say playing out, but like it's a Dwayne Johnson movie.
Yeah.
This did not have that feel, which was very nice.
I agree.
So they have the twist though, where his son does get the power of a Shazam, which is from the Egyptian gods, and I was really glad that
Jim and Hunsu.
Yes, thank you. Did his cameo for just
I've been waiting to say that.
I know you've been sitting on it, and then he ends up they don't explain why he gives him the Shazam powers. Was he dying? Was he hurt? Dwayne Johnson.
Oh, when the son passes him the powers?
Yeah.
I think he was
hurt.
dying. I think he was
hurt.
hurt.
Dying.
They killed the mom, and then they shot him with whatever. It looked like a crossbow or something like that.
Yeah, so he gives
to heal him.
I did like how they had the kid when he transformed. It was one of the actors who plays Young Rock.
Young Rock, yeah.
Oh, is that what that was?
Yeah, it was really funny. Like both Melanie and I were like, "Oh yeah, hey," because we were saying it'd be funny if that if that happens, or if they had just got one of the kids who plays like young Dwayne Johnson to do the role.
Yeah.
But that was interesting, and it added some gravitas to the character. It added some like, oh well, that's why he's not a hero. He wasn't even actually chosen.
Yeah.
So I thought that was interesting. Ronnie, thoughts on Dwayne Johnson and his portrayal of Black Adam?
Fantastic. He's been wanting to do this, like we said earlier, for 10 plus years, right? And to see it finally on screen and to see him playing it, perfect cast right there. Played it well. Again, like we said earlier too, it didn't feel like he was in it. Like all the times when he's in the movie, it's like, all right, that's Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah.
But this, it was like, that's Black Adam. You know what I mean? So I was really happy with the way it was, and it wasn't more like, this is Dwayne Johnson pretending to be someone. So the suit looked great.
Which did you prefer? So he does get two suits in this.
Yes, he does get two. I think I like the first one better.
I think I like the coloring of the second one, the more defined, because that's when he actually accepts his role. I didn't like the cape.
Yeah,
I think it's as like some characters look good with their capes, like
no
Superman.
capes.
Superman always looks good. Even like Shazam, they retooled the cape for this new movie. I think both looked good. But if he had just gotten the brighter colors, I would have been more about it. But it still works. Yeah, he looked fantastic, and the fact that he is just shredded beyond belief, totally natural. But Sean, what about you? Thoughts on
The Rock? Like Ronnie said, I thought he was very good. I really couldn't picture anyone. I don't know what the character looks like in the comics. Like, was the character actually designed to look like The Rock in the last decade?
No.
You know how they did Nick Fury. Nick Fury. They made him look like Samuel L. Jackson before Samuel L. Jackson played him. So I can't imagine really anyone else playing him at this point until I hear if they ever envisioned anyone else in that role. I don't know about you guys, but I was getting some serious Terminator 2 vibes throughout that movie. I really liked the relationship between him and the kid.
Yeah.
It was very John Connor and the T-1000, and then obviously Shara had a little Linda Hamilton going on there. So I definitely kind of got that Terminator 2 vibe, which I like because the whole give it a slogan. It's like I thought that was funny. And again, he didn't overplay it and he didn't underplay it. I thought he was like right down the middle.
Yeah,
and it worked.
It worked. He wasn't over the top. He had his few one-liners. Because obviously that harkens back to the kids. Like you need a
exactly.
You need to have a line to say. But
but it wasn't like his
chunky.
normal humor too.
Yeah, it wasn't like him in the Fast and the Furious movies where he's got to have his punchlines or one-liners.
He barely smiles in this.
That's another thing. Like, he doesn't even smile.
No, those teeth.
And I thought he sold, his speech to Hawkman. Where he's telling what really happened. I mean, you feel for him.
Which is an interesting concept, right? Like, very rarely exposition it can be annoying. And the fact that he tells the story like, hey, this is what history thought happened. I thought that was a really interesting concept. Yeah. Especially like, how does history view these superhumans that are now flying around? So, like, they worship them as gods, basically. And especially in DC, where arguably, and I'll say this, the characters are much more powerful in DC.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Even the fact that Black Adam tears apart that entire army without really trying was really just awesome. Yeah.
At least that's what Superman could do, but he chooses not to.
Exactly, and that's the whole question about if you're super powerful, where do your morals come from? All that stuff.
And I love the scene where he drops the two guys, and Hawkman saves them, and the people are booing Hawkman, and he's just like, I don't know what they did. I'm sure they are bad people, but they don't deserve to die. Yeah, and so, that's just sometimes these superheroes, you're just like, dude, some people do deserve to die.
Yeah. So let's talk about that. So one of the biggest themes of this is that he's not a hero, and not to knock him, he says it 42 times.
Oh, no. Yeah. He is not pretending to be one of these heroes. He's like, I am not a hero. Yep. I don't care if these people don't die or not.
We find out that basically he got the powers and he just went for revenge, and he lost control because he wasn't supposed to have these powers. So he lost control of them, and he was imprisoned by the Council of Wizards. So you get introduced to the Justice Society. Let's talk Justice Society, because I really dug the Justice Society. Yeah. We've seen the Justice Society in other medium, like Smallville did a great job with them. Even Dr. Fate, which could have looked so goofy on screen. I would love to see more of the Justice Society. I'd love to see an actual movie based around them. Yeah. Because they have established in this continuity, there is the Justice League. It does exist. It's still around. Yeah. And there's the Justice Society now. In the comics, the Justice Society was actually the first superhero team of all time. Yeah,
and Stargirl,
and
back in World War I, right?
Something like that. It was like Dr. Fate, Hawkman, Hawkgirl, the original Alan Scott Green Lantern, Jay Garrick Flash, like a lot of the B-list superheroes, and it became very popular, and it actually led to Justice League. So I really dug the fact that they have this continuity. I would have liked some more Easter eggs. I don't know if that was just me. Like, even when Black Adam gets locked up, I was like looking at all the cells, and I was like, "Can we see it?" I was like, "Oh, you can't even."
I was like, all right, who's gonna be in here? Who's gonna be in? And
but
you just saw bodies.
You saw Peacemaker, right, Ronnie?
Yes.
So we did get a cameo from Harcourt.
Yeah,
that was great.
That was awesome.
Melanie noticed right away. She's like, "It's Harcourt."
Yeah,
who's James Gunn's wife now?
That's
Mazel Tov. Yeah, but they did establish though at the end of Peacemaker that Argus kind of got exposed, and I was kind of surprised that Amanda Waller was still running it.
Yeah. Talk about a character you just absolutely love. Like, there's nothing about her that I like at all.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And Viola Davis just
at first I thought you said love.
Oh no,
I was like, and then you're like, "There's nothing good about it." I was like, "Wait loathe."
Amanda Waller's been a character. When she
speaks, I just want to like.
But that's who she's supposed to be, which is amazing.
I know, which is great.
Like
she's fantastic in the role.
Yeah,
and that's why she's so good, because I just despise her.
Yeah, she does a great job. But she's also the one that gets her hands dirty. She's not afraid to.
Oh no, I understand.
Still, one of the best scenes was from the original Suicide Squad, where she lights up everybody in that room, and even Will Smith's like, "That's gangster."
Yeah,
like, because she's not a hero either. This is the world of good and bad. And shades of gray. So, Justice Society composed of, I guess it's almost got a rotating membership, which is an interesting concept.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So much more like a SEAL team.
And Dr. Fate, I think, are the core.
Well, they do establish that Dr. Fate was coming off the bench for the first time.
That's right. Yes.
So they do say that he hasn't done anything. But let's start with Hawkman. Hawkman has one of the weirdest comic books histories of all time. There's so many different, like, sometimes he's a reincarnated Egyptian prince with his, cursed with his wife. Other times he's an alien. They kind of stay away from his entire backstory, and they do introduce nth metal, which is another comic books metal that does everything. It's vibranium, it's adamantium, it's all these things. So that's why he's so rich. Okay, all right, cool. He's got his giant estate. It's just him, though. I don't know what he needs a giant mansion like that for. But anyway,
he got money.
His look was solid.
Oh yeah, the best we've seen.
I liked him in Smallville because originally, like, he would be bare chested, and I think they did a good idea by giving him like some bronze metal or something like that. But he looks fantastic in this movie. The wings were great. His weaponry was really cool. Like, when he suited up, it was awesome.
The mace.
Yeah. Oh, the mace was fun. All the different weapons that he throws around.
Yeah.
But I really dug him. What
Yep.
about Dr. Fate? Thoughts on Dr. Fate?
I thought he looked fantastic,
It's Pierce Brosnan. You can never go wrong with him.
So he does die in this movie.
which is upsetting.
Do we think we're gonna? Is this the last we've seen of Dr. Fate?
You can never say never.
Yeah.
It's only if
think-
Pierce Brosnan wants to keep doing it. I mean, I don't know what his
I
feeling
mean,
is.
how are you going to get him back?
It's magic. Magic can always get brought back.
The way it seemed, at least for me, was like he knew he was going to die, and he was okay with it, and almost like he wanted to die, So I don't know if we'll get him back. If we do, it's probably going to be like a Justice Society movie, and it's gonna go back in time or something like that.
Which I'd be fine with if they want to do
like an origin type of story almost.
Well, Dr. Fate is a mantle. Like, it's
Yeah.
been passed around.
Yes.
Kent Nelson is the most famous of the Dr. Fates, but other people have worn, it's called the Helmet of Nabu.
Yeah.
And other people have worn it.
At the end of the movie, when the helmet disappears,
It can always come back.
It
I'm
goes
just saying,
back-
is it going to find someone else, or is
It
it
goes
just,
back to its
Maybe.
home.
But
Yeah.
I know Teen's worn it, Satana's worn it, Zatara's worn
Yeah.
it. Like, a lot of people have. And I think it actually holds the souls of the people that it's inhabited.
Yeah.
So,
I liked Aldous Hodge as Hawkman.
yeah.
Yeah.
I thought he had just a really solid leadership presence,
Yeah.
too.
You and me later.
See, that was a
Yes.
lot of fun. The whole Justice Society has a great banter. We do have the new kids, and they have their moments to shine.
Yep.
One of my favorite moments of all, I would even say top 10 comic book movie moments, is when Atom Smasher moves his hand, and the guy's like flies by, and he's like,
Yeah.
"Oh my god, I could have hit you!" And you know how accidents. And he swings back and he smacks Hawkman.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dying. This movie had like a couple of really good humor moments, and that
Yeah.
was one.
His mask. I mean, it was Deadpool. And
Yeah.
the eyes, the
It
no eyes.
really was,
It was
yeah.
just I was just like, I'm waiting for Ryan Reynolds' voice to come out of this thing.
Yeah. It's interesting because we've now seen a lot of characters that change size. Like, it's nothing to.
Yeah.
We didn't even talk about the Ant-Man trailer in news. But anyway,
Well, okay, and it was just a random Henry Winkler cameo as
Very
the original Adam Smash.
Yeah.
I was like, are we going to see more of him?
Yeah, that
Of
was
all the
interesting.
people in the world, why did you choose Henry Winkler? I didn't have a problem
right?
with it. I'm just curious.
How many old people are we getting in this? Pierce Brosnan, Henry Winkler.
It was just bizarre.
it was a very I thought we'd see him again.
That's what
Yeah.
I thought. I was just like, oh, okay, we'll see him later in the movie. He'll have something,
right?
But
That's what
I
you
will
do.
give him this. The Justice Society really didn't steal the movie. I thought they were very well to the side, and
Yeah.
when they had to be in the front, they did a good job. It didn't feel forced, like they were trying to make a second movie with them.
It felt like a
Yeah.
natural reaction.
There was no
Yes.
side story, except for Fate, pretty much telling Hawkeye you're gonna die,
Yeah.
it's that kind of thing. But
They almost played like the cops role in like a Fast and Furious. We're
Yeah.
like, oh, they're there. They don't really do too much unless we want them to.
They were a natural reaction. Like, in this world of superheroes and villains, how do you react, right?
Yeah.
And that was the whole point of the Suicide Squad movie, or the original Suicide Squad movie, was Amanda Waller was like, Superman was on our side, the next Superman may not, so we need a team of people.
Yeah.
And I think she also realized that maybe Task Force X is better at the covert stuff, but the Justice Society, look, it's the Justice Society. Everybody should
Yeah.
be happy to see them. They're the heroes. So I thought it was an interesting dynamic and a very real world dynamic. It's a very,
Yeah.
they bring up, hey, you've never come to help us before. We've been under this gang's rule and tyrants and dictators. But now that there's a superpowered being that you think can threaten your safety, you're here to help.
Yeah.
I thought that was a really interesting dynamic. I really enjoyed Atom Smasher, though, and Cyclone. I think they introduced new characters, and it was very, here's your quick backstory.
Yeah.
I was experimented on by an evil scientist. He's like, oh.
Yeah.
I like how he's always snacking, too.
yeah.
And because he even says, he's like, Atom Smashing takes a lot of energy. They do a great job, and a little bit better in DC, where they talk about, hey, we have these superpowers, but here's some side effects of these superpowers that are not always so pleasant. Like in the first Man of Steel movie, he had to tell Lois to back up because he would take off like a rocket. And, like the Flash runs out of his shoes in the Snyder Cut, and he has to constantly eat. They bring that up in the Flash TV show, too, where he's got to eat like 10,000 calories or something stupid a day. Ronnie's like, well, that's not that bad.
Yeah. I do that every day.
So let's talk about the bad guys in this. So this is one of my few real gripes about this movie. They established that Inner Gang's the bad guy, right?
Yeah.
Inner Gang is doing these things, But then they also have the secret mole, which we knew immediately, like Ishmael was not going to be a good guy.
Yeah.
Like that was pretty obvious. But then Inner Gang just kind of disappears.
Yeah.
Like that suddenly they're
kills
just
them all.
not all. I mean, I'm sure it's a gang.
I know, but he kills a lot of people in that.
They probably did one of those. You know what? Let's have the superheroes take care of this.
Mm-hmm. I think it would have been. I think Sabak was an okay villain. I just think they could have. It was very poorly written. The whole Sabak thing. I get it. He's like, there's all these different magical sources, and like these demons have a champion. Like I think a backstory of like the Council of Wizards versus the Council of Demons first might have helped.
All right, so this is what he reminded me of: the new Aladdin Jafar, the live action Aladdin. That was Jafar.
A little bit. I'll give you that one. Yeah, I did like when he transformed the pentagram and like the fire would come out of it. I thought that was a really cool visual. But then, weakest part of the entire movie besides Sabak is the little kid wearing the cape gets up in front of this crowd. Now, I don't know if any of you guys have ever tried to talk to a crowd of 1,000 panicking people.
Yeah.
It's not easy.
No.
And the fact that he's, all right, guys.
Especially when you're a kid.
All right, this is what we're going to do. This is hard to, like, what? Just somebody in the background. What's he say? Like, it was, and he puts their hands up.
And then the Evil Dead army, I thought was just underplayed. I mean, it was just like
mindless CGI army that we feel no moral qualms about being completely murdered.
Yeah.
That is now.
And you know what? For, magic, right? Because I guess it's magic, right? Sabak's power is magic.
Mm-hmm.
To have a magic minions to be defeated by sticks and shovels
and a can-do attitude
and a skateboard, like,
yeah, it was
really like that's all it takes to kill these things.
They should have just like come back to life afterwards. Just like put themselves back together, like Hellboy 2: The Golden Army.
Yeah,
where like they think they're making a dent in this army, and then they'll just put themselves back together and like, oh,
like that's what should happen. Like, I don't know.
I definitely like. Obviously, we had Adriana and her son. They were kind of they get the plot going in the modern time, which is interesting because it makes you wonder. So basically, he's like, my whole plan was to have Black Adam kill me, and I'd come back. But that was based on the fact that Black Adam like revived himself. You didn't know that was going to happen.
Yeah.
So I mean, obviously, like somebody could have just shot him, and he's like, "I'm back to life." Yeah. But it was like this was my plan all along. Ishmael, was it?
Yeah. Right.
Was it though? And then we have your final CGI battle and all that stuff. Like it's a very check the boxes type movie.
Yeah.
Which I'm fine with. But let's talk about the ending. So the movie ends with. Black Adam's victorious. The Justice Society agrees to leave him alone and let him, be the hero of Kahndaq.
Yep.
So, all right, cool, we're leaving. Just, not Kent Nelson, he dead.
Yeah.
So,
and they're still not, obviously keen on leaving him. They still think he is a accident waiting to happen.
Yeah.
And they even say
it's your mess. You want him?
Yeah.
We're going to be back because something's going to happen.
I did like how Hawkman and Black Adam had a great back and forth and a great dynamic, and Hawkman kind of grows from it, Black Adam grows from it, and Atom Smasher in the comics actually leaves the Justice Society because he's of his friendship with Black Adam. So like they hint at that too. They're like, we did a great job teaming up. We did.
Yeah.
Maybe we could know too much.
Yeah.
Like, they never explain how he can speak English.
Yeah.
So in the comics, just so everybody knows,
magic.
So basically, for Shazam, like Billy Batson, the wisdom of Solomon gives him the ability to just speak languages. Like it's the one power that they really downplayed in the original Shazam. They don't really show too much of his wisdom aspect. But then the rest of the other heroes, like the rest of the Shazam family, they each specialize in something. That's why Freddy was able to fly right away. Darla was really fast. Yeah. I forget the other kid's name. One was like the strongest. One was the lightning, and then Mary's got the biggest brains. So. It's interesting how they just kind of flash over that really quick, like just go.
Yeah.
But what did you think of his power portrayal? I know I'm kind of all over it, but like the way that his powers looked,
I thought it was great. I mean, the CGI when he's going running or flying and everything, I thought was great. I mean, I didn't have any issues really with the way his power was done, or really any of the CGI other than the way he looked back in 17,000 BC or whatever it was.
So superpowers are very interesting because we've seen a lot. And a lot of people, especially super speed, everybody thinks of Quicksilver. I like when they show super speed from both perspectives.
Yes.
So sometimes you see like what the other, like the normal person sees. They did it in Man of Steel too. Like Feora, like lands in like with a bunch of military guys, and she just goes bap 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 bap, like zaps between them, and it's like oh my god.
Yeah.
So I like how sometimes you'll see it from the normal perspective, like what we would see if we were watching this. I think it makes it a little bit more realistic. And he's just a blur, like, and they did it with Shazam too, where just you would see like the trail of the lightning. Yeah. But then like they would have the scenes where he sees everything like in slow motion. He's like, "What is going on?" And it's very interesting the way that they did that sort of thing. But obviously, the movie ends, as I was saying, with they leave and Black Adam kind of takes his role. The shot of him in the throne is from the comics, which is interesting because then he's like, "Nah, I don't like this." Blows up the throne. But Amanda Waller drops down. She's like, if you don't want to be in my prison, that's fine, which is still one of the other gripes. Yeah. He gets out of that thing. He has to go all the way up to the water to take out the mask. Just take out the mask and say it there. Say Shazam right in there. Yeah. It'll work, I promise. But they should have at least established his lightning can't get through here. Yeah. But anyway, what do I know? So Amanda Waller drops in. She's like, hey, as long as you stay here, we're good. But the second you decide that you want to go be whatever you want to be, we're going to have an issue. And I love the line. He's like, there's no one on this planet that can stop me. And what does she say? Who I would send isn't from this planet. Yeah. And he says, send them all. And he blows up the little drone. Obviously, she just kind of filmed her stuff. And that was it. Like, she's not in it. She doesn't interact with anyone. And then Superman, played by Henry Cavill, drops down and telling him that they need to. They play the classic Superman theme. So where do we think we're going? Obviously, this movie made a ton of money. This movie is another great example of the critics did not like it. Like, I think it's like sitting at like 40% critic wise, but 90% audience, which is wild. Oh yeah. So obviously they're going to get a sequel. It made a ton of money its opening weekends. I'm curious to see what its total box office is.
Do you think he'll cameo in the Shazam movie?
I hope so, because I really hope that after Fury of the Gods that's they do their.
I honestly I kept waiting for Shazam.
I think it would have been just as cool to see him drop down.
Yeah. I mean, I'm okay with not having him in it, but like the whole time, like I'm like, all right, Shazam's coming.
It's like having a Batman and a Joker movie. Yeah. But they're never going to interact. It's still just as weird. And they did do that. There is a Batman and a Joker movie that they don't interact. But
so you brought up box office. As of right now, it's sitting right now at 250.1 million.
Yeah. And that's only the first 2 weeks.
Yeah.
That's not, I think that's just
just 2 weekends essentially. Yeah.
Yeah. So wild.
Yeah.
Where do we think we're going next with this?
Well, it just depends on where the timeline is. So, like, is the next Man of Steel movie going to take place before this? Is it going to take place after this? Again, please, for the love of God, can we just get a Superman movie? No other superheroes. I don't want any other superhero in it unless it's a cameo.
Yeah.
I want this to be Superman's movie. Think about it. We've never gotten a truly great sequel to a Superman movie.
Right. Yeah. With the exception of Superman 2.
See, you like Superman 2. I think it's not that good.
I like it.
It's watchable.
It's not bad.
It's watchable, but I want a truly epic sequel to a Superman movie.
Yeah.
I want to be able to say both Man of Steel and the second movie were really good. Mm-hmm. And I hope that we get that.
See, it's hard to tell what's going to happen here. You know, especially like if we're talking about Black Adam. Are we going to get Black Adam that's going to turn pretty much all good and join the Justice Society? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You know, or are we going to get him joining Injustice League?
Well, see, that's the problem when you cast The Rock. How do you make this character like the comics?
Yeah.
Do you keep him in this, you know, yeah, he's good in his heart, but he can still be a loose cannon. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, how do you handle that in these movies?
Well, I want to see him conflict with some of the other superheroes. Like, same thing with Hawkman. Hey, we don't kill people.
Yeah.
I want somebody to be like, Superman did.
Yeah, right.
Batman does. But, yeah.
Yeah. I'm also wondering, like, see how the new Shazam movie goes. Mm-hmm. And then, depending on that, if Shazam's going to stick around, do we have a Shazam versus Black Adam?
With Superman in the mix. They did a short Superman Shazam. It was really good.
Yeah.
Where, you know, Billy Batson's getting his powers and like Black Adam's coming to kill him.
Yeah.
And Superman jumps in, it was a good good short.
Yeah.
I could see it. I think in order to do that, they have to have a solid reason why Billy Batson and Black Adam are going at each other. Right? Maybe it's, hey, we can't have two champions around at the same time. It's going to draw away from the magic or whatever. Like,
you're in America. I'm in Egypt.
And that's why you have to have a solid reason for the two of them to want to be at odds with each other.
Yeah.
And instead of finding like, I could see Billy Batson be like, we can find a solution. Black Adam's like, yeah, I'm going to kill you. And I'm going to keep the power.
I wonder if it's going to be kind of like the struggle we had between Hawkman and Black Adam in this, where I wonder if there's going to be some sort of conflict in some other country, maybe something similar to what we had here in this movie with like an intergang, and Black Adam's like, let me go help them. What was the kid's name? Muhammad? No.
Atten? I forget his name. He's actually a character in the comics. He plays
Aman.
Aman.
I wonder if Aman goes to him, hey, there's this country over here that's struggling just like we were. Let's go help them out.
That would be really away from the comics, though. Because like, he's just about Kahndaq and nowhere else in the comics. I think there has to be a threat to magic itself. That if he lost, like if the threat wasn't taken care of, he would lose his power.
Yeah.
And I could see him and Billy Batson actually teaming up, but also really going in. And they'll do like their traditional, we fight first, and we work it out, and we work
Batman
together.
Superman.
Well, any of the Avengers did it too.
Yeah.
They all.
Oh, yeah.
All heroes fight when they first meet.
Yes.
Because why can't we have a conversation? I would really enjoy seeing him interact with Wonder Woman. I think that would be a fun dynamic. Black Adam, because Wonder Woman kills. She has no qualms about killing. Like, she's like, they're bad guys. I kill them. So
or him and Aquaman.
That'd be a lot of fun. So I don't know. We have a lot. Like, DC's in a flux. Like, I still theorize that the reason Henry Cavill's not coming back for The Witcher is because he even said that there's a lot going on with DC. I wouldn't be surprised. A new Justice League, I know there was a big talk of Justice League versus Suicide Squad, which could be fun. I could see Black Adam on the Suicide Squad, if anything.
Oh, yeah.
You can do your Injustice movie. You can do, obviously, new Man of Steel. Ben Affleck's coming back for Aquaman. So we're all... Yeah. It's weird how they're trying to bring back the good pieces, but try and rebuild the franchise.
Yes.
I still think it's a smarter move to try and build the franchise from what they had, rather than wiping the slate clean completely at this point.
My only argument to that is, how much longer do you have these guys? I mean, Ben Affleck's not a spring chicken. Are you going to just make Batman movies where Batman is a middle-aged guy? I mean, Henry Cavill, is he just going to be Superman for the rest of his career? It sounds like now that's what he's going to do.
I have no problem with it.
I don't have a problem with it either. I'm just surprised he wants to do that.
Yeah.
You just basically wasted, 10 years of your career.
10 years.
Basically playing the character really not that much.
Yeah.
You got your own movie. You kind of got gypped in Justice League, the
Joss Whedon
cut, because you didn't show up till almost an hour into the movie and you really didn't do much.
Yeah.
So I'm just surprised. I mean, good for him. I mean, he's showing devotion to the character. He's always said, he wants to play Superman again. So it's not like he doesn't want to do it. I'm just, again, I commend them for continuing, because it doesn't signal to the fans that we made a giant mistake for the last decade.
Yeah.
But again, it's like, where are you going?
And the toughest thing is Ezra Miller.
Yeah, the Ezra Miller
Flash.
stuff.
I would be shocked if he is continues on as the Flash. I think they're going to finish this movie
and then
they're going to recast him.
Yeah.
They got to. They can't.
But I'm
they
just
can't
saying,
keep
it's just
him.
going to be weird. Like, you're going to have all the same characters,
But that's
same
fine.
actors.
It's
you're going to have a
happens.
new one. Like, I'm just curious as to how they're going to pull that off.
It's happened more than once.
Yeah.
So, like, how many franchises have they recast characters? And I mean, look at
I
Don
mean,
Cheadle. Like,
Don Cheadle. Look at again, we didn't get him till 2008 to 2013, and it was Edward Norton to Mark Ruffalo,
and then even Harrison Ford taking over as
yes,
Thunderbolt Ross,
which is, I mean, I loved William Hurt, but that doesn't.
Yeah.
That's not going to move the needle for me. Like, I'm not going to be crying that William Hurt wasn't playing that character anymore, because there wasn't much to it.
I have no problem if they want to go like the James Bond route and keep the story going, but just change it out.
I get it,
Yeah.
but now, like, to me, again, is what's your plan?
Yeah.
So, like, how many more Superman movies are you going to make? How many more Justice League movies are you going to make? Because this isn't going to happen in a year or two. It's going to take... We're not going to get Man of Steel 2 till when? 2025 at the earliest?
Say 3 years. 3, 4.
I can see that. It depends on what they... For all we know, things have been in the works. Because apparently Dwayne Johnson went on record. He's like, I've been pushing to get Henry Cavill... Like, that was one of the things that I was shocked about. They spoiled that right away. Like on the night of the premiere, Dwayne Johnson's like, "Oh, Henry Cavill's in the movie. Come see." I think that was also his "come see my movie."
Yeah.
He's not a dumb businessman. He knows business, and I think if he was the best person to be put in this situation where he has enough clout to be like, "Hey, I'll do this, but I want Henry Cavill as Superman. I want to fight him."
Yeah.
Like that's what their story was, and it worked.
Yeah.
No, I see. And I'm interested to see how much of Ben Affleck we're going to see in the Aquaman movie.
Yeah.
Is it just a cameo, or is he going to actually be involved in the story?
Supposedly, he does have a fair amount of involvement.
So, and then Wonder Woman, where that's going to go. Has Gal Gadot? Is it been official? Is she back? Is she coming
She's
back?
doing a Wonder Woman 3. There's not a whole lot of detail on it. Mm-hmm. It's funny because Wonder Woman 84 was on last night, and I was
Wonder Woman 99 and have to deal with Y2K.
Yeah, I know, right? It's funny because 84 has some moments that I really do enjoy. It's just such a bad movie overall.
There's any moments that I enjoy.
I love Steve Trevor coming back. Him putting on all the 80s clothes and all that stuff.
Yeah.
The action scene in the desert's still pretty good.
Yeah.
But anyway, I would love to see Wonder Woman do a modern story. Give her the modern.
Yeah.
Well, we haven't. Yeah, except for Justice League, we haven't really seen her in modern times.
Make her. I want to see all these characters now dealing with being solid heroes. Most of these characters were background characters. With these, Aquaman's the only movie where they're like, "Hey, it's Fish Guy."
Yeah.
People knew him. People were like, "Hey, he's a superhero."
Yeah.
For Batman, he was still an urban myth for the most part, even though he's been fighting crime for 20 plus years.
Yeah, right.
I really want for them in a Man of Steel sequel to address the fact that when Superman died, people were still questioning if the world even needed him. Mm-hmm. Now he's coming back and he's Messiah level, and I want to see him as Clark Kent being like, "I don't know how to deal with this. People didn't want me, and now I'm this god to them." Mm-hmm. I think it'd be a really interesting switch in that dynamic, because I thought it was interesting to begin with, where he was like, "Am I even doing the right thing being Superman? Does the world really want me?" And now I would love to see kind of that switch and him dealing with it. It's a very human reaction to deal with.
Yeah.
And how it affects his relationship with Lois Lane and how it with the other Justice League members. I think it'd be an interesting dynamic.
Yes.
But Star City ratings for Black Adam. I'll go first so you guys can collect your thoughts. I'm going to give it a 3.5 out of 5. It is a solid good time. It is well above average. It's weird that the critics are being so rough on it.
Yeah.
I get it. The script has some issues. Some of the CGI was a little wonky, but it was a good time. I had my popcorn and my water, and I was good to go. So I'm curious to see where it's going to go. I think we're going to look back on this movie as a turning point for DC in a good way or bad way.
Yeah.
But 3.5 out of 5, solid. Ronnie?
I'm going to agree with you. I'll give it a 3.5. Just looking, earlier and right now at some the critics and stuff like that. It's literally just a bunch of, script, storyline, and stuff like that. So I don't know. I mean, yes, there's issues with the script and it was kind of boring in a way, but I mean, other than that, everything else was on point. I thought fantastic casting was done on this movie from top to bottom. CGI, like I said, looked great and everything. Powers. So, and like I said, it's a good step in the right direction for DC. DC has been actually putting out pretty good stuff as of late.
They do much better with their solo projects.
Yeah. So I'm excited.
Sean?
I'm going to go 3. Nothing terrible about it. Mm-hmm. I enjoyed watching it. It's definitely a movie, if it's on TV, when it comes to streaming or whatever, it's something I can watch. It's the last product of the old regime of the DCEU. Mm-hmm. So as you guys have said, it could be a stepping stone into the right direction. We'll see, but hopefully, and we'll go from there. But I enjoyed it. I definitely thought I would walk out of that theater going wow, it's just a Rock in a cape. Yeah. It took us forever to get to the Rock being a superhero. Great, he's basically a superhero in every movie he plays.
Yeah,
but as we've said earlier, I thought he did a good job where he wasn't, too over the top. He wasn't. The character was not written in a way. It wasn't like Shazam, and not that Shazam is bad. I like Shazam, but it didn't have that. This is a kid. This is a little jokey. It didn't have that. I thought it was pretty good, and like I said, it was I'd say a step away from being a solid R. You know,
Oh, yeah.
They did not, they got away with a good amount of stuff in that movie.
yeah.
Purely the violence aspect.
Even like when we were in the theater watching it, and like the first guy, he like melts. There was a couple get like, ooh, okay.
Yeah.
And then a lot of people getting thrown,
Yeah.
which was always funny.
Yeah.
Really quick, we do have Fan Feedback Friday. We are a week behind, so I'm just going to do last week's just for the sake of time. What should you never say to a DC fan? Marvel TV is better than DC TV. Fans work better on AC, but from Rob's comic book class, Superman was never that important in the comics. Iron Man is better than Superman. Stop employing criminals as actors. As Tony Stark is richer than Bruce Wayne. I think they actually did do like a Forbes list of like, I think Black Panther was actually the richest comic book character. Best Batman, George Clooney. Quicksilver can beat the Flash. Then one of our friends, Anthony, wrote, anybody could beat Batman. So-and-so can beat Batman. Did you hear that Ezra Miller was arrested again? The Dark Knight, he's kind of like Moon Knight, right? That's actually really funny. Some good ones.
That's funny.
But that's going to wrap us up for today. Don't forget, if you guys are looking to do some Fan Feedback Friday, you can always find us on Facebook, the Multiverse Fan Cast. You can also find us on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. Type in the Misfit Faction. Odds are you'll find some of our material, some of our content. And again, our website, themisfitfaction.com. You'll find links to all of our shows, our merch, our news, reviews, and much, much more. As always, I am Paul.
I'm Ronnie.
And the Jets suck. I'm Sean.
And we'll be back in a flash.
See ya.